Helluva's tone has always kind of been all over the place, but I would say in Season 1 it was mostly consistent. When a scene needed to be serious, the scene was serious, and there weren't really jokes in it. And when it needed to be funny, there were a lot of jokes. Doesn't matter if the jokes landed or not, the writers knew when to keep a scene at its specific tone. Funny scenes were comedic, the serious scenes were serious. But in the most recent season, it feels like there's a lot of scenes that have comedy in them that really shouldn't have comedy in them. And I want to dive into just one of them that I find to be most egregious, probably the worst example of tonal whiplash in the show thus far. In episode 3 of season 2, X's and O's, there's a scene where Moxie's dad, Crimson, is essentially beckoning Moxie into a one-on-one talk. The scene is absolutely brimming with tension, as Moxie and Crimson have had a lot of tension the entire episode, but it's not really been elaborated upon. Moxie is clearly very nervous in front of his dad, doing whatever he says without really fighting back much. He has verbally corrected him on some things, but he has not outright ignored him. I mean, he's only in this room because Crimson asked him to stay. Moxie is also a character who is infamously not as strong as the other characters he's surrounded with, physically being the weakest member of IMP. And this scene wastes no time reaffirming that. As Crimson beckons him over, he immediately physically assaults his own child in his own home to establish dominance over him in this scene. He chastises him for thinking that he can just come back to the family without any kind of punishment, and the fact that he ever abandoned his family in the first place, his responsibilities that Crimson had to pick up after he left. He's done nothing for this family. Why should Crimson even allow him to be here? Well, it's because Crimson has something that he wants from Moxie. He wants Moxie to help Chaz get into the family. An arranged marriage has been set up, and Moxie, whether he wants to or not, is going to marry Chaz to get their millions. The first useful thing this guy's ever done in his life for the family. And Moxie understandably protests this. I mean, he has a wife. He already is in a relationship. He can't just marry someone else just because he's told to. He's quite literally already in a marriage. This doesn't make any sense. Crimson isn't having any of it. And Moxie gets more and more timid. He's absolutely fearful of everything. He's worried that in this scene, Moxie might actually get killed. He knows what his father is capable of. But if his father wanted him killed, he would have probably already done that. So he must be really serious about this whole wedding thing. I mean, he's never been fond of Chaz's lifestyle, he's even admitted it, but the family must really be desperate if they need this money. It's a shitty situation, but maybe there is something to understand here. Even if Crimson is expressing it in the most horrible way possible, the family does need to survive no matter what, doesn't it? Crimson, sensing the tension, thinks to relieve it in a way. As we have this scene that's absolutely brimming with serious tones, the thing that we do next, the absolute biggest brain play we can do, is have Crimson hit a button where a bunch of dildos flood into the room, completely breaking any of the tension. Why the fuck did you do this? Later, when this episode is trying to reaffirm its tension, there's just dildos in a wide shot, and then the joke was so funny they did it again!